What's going on, everyone? My name's Kai, aka Manga, and today we're going to be doing my top 10 list for series that aren't yet printed in English that I really want to see within the next couple of years. So if you enjoy, leave a like, let me know down below some series that you guys want to see published in English, and let's get to the video. Okay, so it's the next day after recording the intro. I'm running out of daylight natural lighting very quickly at the moment because the UK just wants to snow on and off apparently. Before we get into it, make sure to like the video to avoid disappointing Perry the Platypus because no one wants to do that. And yeah, let's get into my top 10 manga that I would still like translated over the next couple of years. Starting off at number 10, we have Kingdom, written and illustrated by Yasuhisa Hara. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Everyone knows what Kingdom is. It's basically set during the warring states of China, and it follows Shin, I think his name is pronounced, as he wants to become what's it called? I think it's like greatest general under the heavens, I believe. Because it's set in history, we technically know the ending, sort of like Vagabond. So I feel like that kind of, I don't know, it's a fictional retelling, so it could definitely go in a different way, but the reason that it's number 10 on my list, and don't forget it is a top 10, so it's not like any of these are bad, it's just I want more. I want the others printed more than this, simply because I've kind of given up hope on getting a Kingdom English release. I don't think the anime done amazingly, so I don't think the traction was ever there in the West. But it's it's got very old school war strats and lots of politics, and the battle scenes look absolutely phenomenal. But I really want it in English, but I don't think we're going to get it, unfortunately. That's why it's in number 10. I will be sure to throw some art up on the screen for you guys for the series that I don't have right here. But yeah, Kingdom, it's a really good manga. I don't see it getting an English print, unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong, but I guess we'll see. Moving on to number 9, we have the first one that I have physically, and that is Record of Ragnarok. Now, anyone that knows me, this might be a surprise, it coming in at number 9, just because when I first found out about the series, I went absolutely crazy over it. But the reason I put it at number 9 is because it's getting an anime later this year, and I feel like it will do the series justice, and that's probably going to bring it to an English release anyway. Also, I see more and more people picking this up, and obviously if they're getting it, you know, new and supporting the series, then it's going to send messages to places. I don't know who, I think probably Seven Seas or Dark Horse would probably pick this up, but I love the series. Basically, it's about the gods planning the apocalypse on the human race, and the Valkyries essentially disagree and want to give the humans a fighting chance to basically win their survival. So a tournament happens between the humans and the gods. and you would thought that the gods would just wipe the floor with the humans, but what would be a point in the series if that was the case? Basically, we find out that the Valkyries have made weapons for the humans that can damage the gods. And honestly, even though it's like one of the most basic, like, just brutal fights, this first one is probably one of my favorites. We got Lubu versus Thor, and it's just crazy. But it's basically just one big tournament arc, and yeah, the anime is coming out later this year. And if we do get an English print, please, people, check this out, because it's phenomenal. I love it so much. Moving on to number 8. Okay, so at number 8 we have Gigant. I have so much fun saying that series name in halls if it does get an English print. I've only read the first 3 chapters, as I only started it recently, but I've heard about it for a while, but recently East Coast Manga has been absolutely popping off about it, so I finally decided to check it out a couple of nights ago, and it's insane. We basically follow a cop, or police officer, I should say, and it's essentially about we've got monsters, yeah, superpowered cop, and best of all, an eggplant mascot for the city. So it gets crazy. The art is insane. I would just genuinely be so interested to see if this gets an English print. But I'm not going to go into too much because I don't think that many people know about it or have got very deep into the story, and I know I haven't either, so I haven't like looked too much stuff up or anything. But yeah, just check out Gigant. That's 5 A's, by the way. And yeah, let's get on to number 7. Okay, so at number 7 we have Humunculus. Now, this series gets dark, and I mean dark. Basically follow our main character, who undergoes a procedure to have a hole drilled through his brain. Well, his skull. We end up getting taken to some deep, like, human psychological places, and I definitely cannot recommend everyone to check the series out, unfortunately, because I think it is great. But if you have experienced any other manga that you think tackles the human psyche, and you enjoyed it, maybe check it out. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the series that are interested in Japanese manga that could get an English print, but just be cautious in checking the series out, I think. Other than that, I think it's great, and I'd be actually interested to see who would publish this in English. I'd imagine Dark Horse, or no, I think Dark Horse would probably be the only ones that would do it. Maybe Viz Sig editions, looking at Pum Pum, but yeah. I'll show some art on the screen. It's got very good art, I think. It's very, what would be the word? I guess realistic, but just be careful when checking that series out, but it's very good. Let's get on to number 6. Okay, so at number 6 we have Jimmi Nomipo. Give a little bit of backstory on the series. we have our main protagonist, Ippo, Makunouchi. Can't remember his first name. Typical shonen protagonist in sports series. He starts off not knowing anything about the sport of boxing. He gets bullied at school when a champion, literally right here, is coming by and decides to save him from said bullies. And Ippo basically asks him to train him in boxing. And Takamura, the person who saves him, essentially gives him a task to catch 10 leaves, I think it is, or 20 maybe, as they're falling from a tree. And if he does that, then Takamura will train Ippo. He eventually does it, and he gets introduced to Takamura's gym, where we find out that he doesn't have any boxing technique. However, because of the things he does in his everyday life, and building his foundation of muscles, he has a mean right hand. Basically, they essentially get him straight in the ring and into a fight with his basically future rival, and yeah, he does not very well, and then they reschedule a fight to go again, and then it basically follows his pro career after that, and it's a really good series. I'm kind of biased to this series because boxing is my favourite sport in the world. So there are a lot of volumes to this series, and also the anime is great. Like, if this never gets an English series, I will be content because we have the anime, and I think the anime does a great job. But I would love to support this series in English. It might be a little bit far-fetched, kind of like with Kingdom. I think it might be longer than Kingdom. I know this is just getting into its 1300th chapter. I'm on about chapter 1100, so, but I would absolutely love to support this series in English. I'm going to be picking up some more volumes of this in Japanese pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this is my pick for number 6. I love this series so much, and to see it get in English would be great. Moving on to number 5. Okay, so at number 5 we have Magi Adventures of Sinbad. Now, I'm going to show some art from the series, but if you want to experience this story, I would actually recommend checking the Netflix series out. Just because that's the main way we can support the chances of getting the series printed, along with, buying copies of Magi and Orient, which are both being published by Kodansha and Viz for Magi and Kodansha for Orient, which I imagine Kodansha would probably be the ones to pick up Adventures of Sinbad, but I'd be really worried that they'd have it in digital locked vault. But we shall see. It basically is Sinbad's origin story and how he basically finds his teammates. But Sinbad to me is the best part of Magi, and I'm really glad that out of all the characters, it was him that got the prequel origin story. I think the animation in the Netflix series is actually pretty awesome as well, so yeah, be sure to check that out, and let's pray for more Sinbad greatness to hit our shelves. I'll show some art, like I said, but definitely check out the Netflix series and support Shinobu Otaka. Okay, so for number 4, we have Bucky. Now, this is a big ask because there are a lot of Bucky series. It wouldn't make sense to just print one, so it would be a huge undertaking. I mean, just Grappler Bucky, it's 42 volumes, and there's like 7 other series. Most are spin-offs, but there is still a lot of volumes in this series. Basically, we follow our protagonist Bucky as he wants to become strong enough to basically fight his dad, who is known as the strongest creature on the earth. Not strongest person, not strongest human, strongest creature. But the main reason I want this in English is just because of the fight choreography. There is something later on that has better fight choreography than this. But I think this and Ippo are still some of the best fight choreography we might ever get in manga. The only issue I find with Bucky is it's got such a great cast of side characters, but the series seemed too scared to give them more than a couple of chapters of like limelight. It basically never lets you forget that the series is called Bucky, and later down the line it really does seem like that the only 2 characters are Bucky and his dad Yujiro, which, don't get me wrong, they're great characters, but honestly some of the side characters are just off the walls and awesome. But this might be a pipe dream because there are just so many volumes and different series and whatnot. But Bucky, yeah, for my number 4 pick. Also got animes. Don't watch the Netflix one as your first viewing because you will get confused. That starts after the original series, which I think is on Netflix in some places, but unfortunately not in the UK. So lucky you guys, I guess, if you have it. But the original series, I think it was from the early 2000s. And it's fine. It's a good anime. And then obviously we have the Netflix ones, which are pretty great animation. So yeah, that's Bucky, my number 4 pick. The series that I want translated in English that will probably never happen. Here we go with number 3. It's actually kind of shot in the dark for me because I haven't yet read this series or checked it out even. It's Gantz E. It just sounds crazy. I'm working my way through Gantz right now. I've also seen the Gantz 0 or Gantz O movie on Netflix. I've seen the original anime. And Gantz E is just so up my alley from the descriptions and what people have told me. It's Gantz set in the Edo period, and I love the idea of that. And we've got Gantz G, and I know there's a light novel, right? That's got the purple on the spine. Can't think of what that one is. But yeah, so I think the chances are pretty good that we might possibly get Gantz E. I don't think much is out right now though, so I wouldn't be expecting that for a couple of years. But yeah, that's my number 3 pick. Yeah, moving on to number 2. We have a bit of a cheat code, or I mean, I didn't really specify any parameters in this. So maybe I'll throw something in towards the start of the video, post-edit. But we're going with Terraformars Gaiden Reinhard, which is a one-shot, and it's the backstory to one of the main crew members throughout the main series. It is only 5 chapters long, I believe. It's been a while since I read it, so... but the cover looks awesome, the art is amazing, the content is great. I think some people, like the very few people that have read it that I have conversed with, I don't think a lot of them liked the ending to it, but then again it is a prologue, so it can be kind of daunting to think that that's where that character came from, and he genuinely becomes one of the better written characters in the main series. Which character writing in Terraformars seems kind of far-fetched to some people, just because it's about, you know, mutated people fighting giant cockroaches on Mars. But honestly, I would love to have that next to all my Terraformars volumes when I catch up to physical release. And yeah, let's get into the number 1. Okay, if you made it here, then thank you for checking out the video. Even if you skipped it here, thank you. I really appreciate it. But now for my number 1 pick for manga that I would love to see translated in English. And I don't think this is too much of a stretch, just because the writer has works in English. I don't think it makes too much. I don't think it's too much of a far-fetched dream to have this printed as well, but we shall see. But it is Kengan Ashura. Now, as I mentioned in my Bucky segment, this is the series that I think has the best fight choreography. Maybe I need to read more manga, but I love this series. Like, some of the art as well is it's great. And the writer also has How Heavy the Dumbbells You Lift, printed in English by 7 Seas right now. I don't know if it would be 7 Seas that would pick this series up. But, you know, if it is, then it is. But this series is just amazing. I know people get turned off by the anime because of the animation style, but trust me, when it gets to the fight scenes, that animation style makes sense, because it just makes it so easy to follow the fights and whatnot. But honestly, absolutely cannot go wrong with Kengan. Kengan Ashura itself is finished. They're now doing the sequel series called Kengan Omega, and yeah, that's even more crazier than this. And I've currently got the first 5 volumes of this, and I think there's like 27 or something for Ashura, so I'll be trying to pick the rest of them up pretty shortly. But this is definitely my top pick for any series. Apologies, there's people shouting outside my house. Classic UK. This is definitely my top pick series for getting an English release. If anyone asked me if I could get a series printed in English, it would be this, because it's insane. We follow our main protagonist called Takedo Oma as he fights in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, and just the opponents he fights, the side characters, they're great. Even this first fight in the tournament, it's crazy. But yeah, that's Kengan Ashura. Thanks to everyone checking out this video. Let's head over to the outro bookcase. Outro bookcase. Thank you to anyone checking out this video all the way through. Really appreciate that. If you like the video, please leave a like. Comment down below some series that you want to see translated into English. I know there's a lot of opinion on this topic, so definitely interested to see what everyone has to say. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see more videos, especially surrounding Japanese manga. I really do enjoy collecting some Japanese volumes here and there. And be sure to stick around for the next video. Peace.